everyone. Today we will talk about rational numbers. And these are the following objectives. Express rational numbers from fraction form to decimal form and vice versa. Second, perform operations on rational numbers. So let us discuss first what are rational numbers. Rational numbers are numbers which can be written as a quotient of two integers a over b, where b should not be equal to 0. So if b with b 0, it will not be a rational number anymore. Second, any rational number can be expressed in fraction or decimal form. And these are the examples of rational numbers. We have -5, 9, 100, 25 hundreds, -1 and 75 hundreds, repeating decimal 1.222 and so on, 4 over 5 and -9 over 11. So let us have examples. So let us make it learning task 1. Translate the given statements into fractions and decimals. So we have here number 1, 4/10. So 4 will be written in the numerator and 10 will be written in the denominator. So we have 4 over 10. Remember that we always write the fraction in its simplest form. So how are we going to get it in simplest form? So we have to get the GCF of the numerator and denominator. So let's start with 4. So 4 is equal to 2 times 2. So we get the prime factors. Then second, we have 10. So we have 5 times 2. Then we get the same factor or common to both 4 and 10. So we have 2. So since 2 is the GCF, we will divide the numerator and the denominator by 2. So we have 4 divided by 2 over 10 divided by 2. So it will be equal to 2 over 5. So the lowest term of 4 over 10 is 2 over 5. Now, how are we going to change 2 over 5 into decimal form? So we will divide numerator by the denominator. So we have here the division symbol. So 2 divided by 5. So 2 divided by 5 cannot be, so we will write 0. And then we add 0. So after adding 0, remember that we have to put decimal point in our quotient. Then divide. 20 divided by 5 is 4. And 4 times 5 is equal to 20. Then subtract it, so it will be equal to 0. So therefore, the decimal form of 2 over 5 is 4/10. Let's have second example. So we have 4/5. So 4 will be written in the numerator and 5 will be written in the denominator. So we have 4 over 5 or 4/5. Take note that 4 over 5 is already in its lowest form because there is no such common factor to both 4 and 5 except 1. Okay? So how are we going to rewrite it in decimal form? So again, numerator divided by the denominator. So we have the division symbol, 4 divided by 5. So 4 divided by 5 cannot be, so we will write 0. Then add 0 and take note to put decimal point in our quotient. Then divide. 40 divided by 5, it is equal to 8. Then 8 times 5 is 40. So 40 minus 40 is 0. So we have this 4/5 in decimal form, which is 8/10. Okay? Now let's have number 3. So we have 250,000. So 250 will be written in our numerator and 1,000 will be in our denominator. So take note, we have to get the simplest form of 250 over 1,000. So we will think of the factors of 250 and 1,000 wherein one of the factor is the same with the other one. So we have 250. So 1 times 250 is equal to 250 and 4 times 250 is 1,000. So we have this greatest common factor which is 250. So we will divide the numerator and the denominator by 250. So 250 divided by 250 over 1,000 divided by 250, it is equal to 1 over 4 or 1/4. So the lowest term of 250 over 1,000 is 1/4. Now to change it in decimals or decimal form, so again, do not forget that numerator divided by the denominator. So we have 1 divided by 4. So 1 divided by 4 cannot be, so we will write 0. Then add 0. Again, don't forget to put decimal point in our quotient. And then 10 divided by 4 is 2. Then multiply 2 times 4 is 8. Then 10 minus 8 equals 2. Then again, add 0. So bring down 0. 20 divided by 4 is 5. And 5 times 4 is 20. So 20 minus 20 is 0. So therefore, the decimal form of 1/4 is 25 hundredths. Let's have example number 4. So we have 1/2. So how are we going to write it in fraction? 1 is in the numerator and 2 is in the denominator because of the word half. So we have 1/2. Take note that 1/2 is already in its lowest form because there's no such common factor to both 1 and 2 except 1. So how are we going to write 1/2 in decimal? So remember, numerator divided by the denominator. So 1 divided by 2. So 1 divided by 2 cannot be, so we write 0 and then add 0. So do not forget the decimal point in our quotient. So 10 divided by 2 is 5. Then 5 times 2 is equal to 10. And 10 minus 10 is 0. So therefore, 1/2 in decimal form is 5/10. Now let's have example number 5. So we have 9 hundredths. So we write 9 in our numerator and 100 in the denominator. Again, 9 over 100 is already in its lowest term or form because there is no such common factor to both 9 and 100 except 1. And to change it into decimal, so don't forget numerator divided by the denominator. So we have 9 divided by 100. So cannot be, we add 0 and write 0 in our quotient. So add 0. So don't forget to put decimal point in our quotient. Then 90 divided by 100 again cannot be. So we write 0. And then add another 0. So 900 divided by 100, it is equal to 9. And then multiply 9 times 100, it is equal to 900. 900 minus 900, 0. So therefore, this is the decimal form of 9 hundredths. Let's have more examples. So we have this learning task 2. Perform the indicated operations. So let us start with this first one. We have 3 over 5 plus 9 over 10. So remember that we can only add or subtract fractions if they are similar fractions. Meaning, similar fractions have the same denominator. For these two, they are dissimilar fraction. So to add this, we have to get the LCD first. So how are we going to get the LCD? So we may use the multiples of 5 and multiples of 10. So we have 5, 10. So we will stop with 10 because we already have 10 as one of the denominators. So therefore, our LCD is 10. Or we may use the prime factorization. So we have 5. So we just write it 5 because it is already a prime number. And then we have 10, which is equal to 5 times 2. So we align the factors wherein there is similar factor. So we bring down 5, then times 2. So 5 times 2 equals 10. So we will rewrite 3 over 5 into its equivalent fraction wherein the denominator is 10. So we have 6 over 10. So how do we get 6 over 10? So we simply divide the LCD by 5. So 10 divided by 5, it is 2. And 2 times 3 is equal to 6. Now, for 9 over 10, so we will use 9 over 10 already because they have similar denominator or they are already similar fractions. So equals 6 over 10 plus 9 over 10. So we can now add the numerator. So 6 plus 9 is equal to 15. Then we just copy the LCD, which is 10. So we have 15 over 10. Do not forget that we have to simplify or get the lowest term of our fraction. So to get the lowest term of 15 over 10, we get the GCF of 15 and 10. So we can use prime factorization. So we have 15 equals 5 times 3. And then we have 10, which is equal to 5 times 2. So remember that if we're getting the GCF, we get the similar factors wherein we have 5. So the GCF is 5. So we just simply divide the numerator and the denominator by 5. So 15 divided by 5 over 10 divided by 5, which is equal to 3 over 2. So therefore, the lowest term of 15 over 10 is equal to 3 over 2. Remember that it is not always says that when we write the improper fraction to mixed number, we rewrite it in its lowest term. So how can we identify the fraction if it is in lowest term? The numerator and the denominator must not have a common factor except 1. So therefore, the answer is 3 over 2. Now, let us have number 2 example. We have 1 over 8 plus 5 over 6. So again, these are the similar fractions, so we have to get the LCD. So we may use the multiples. So multiples of 8, we have 8, 16, 24. And then the multiples of 6, we have 6, 12, 18, and 24. So we will stop with 24 because we already have the same multiples of 8 and 6, which is 24. Or we may use the prime factorization. So 8, it is equal to 2 times 2 times 2. Then we have 6, which is equal to 2 times 3. So now, for the LCM, so we just bring down 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. So we have 2 times 2, which is equal to 4, times 2, which is equal to 8, times 3, which is equal to 24. So our LCD is 24. So now, we rewrite 1 over 8 to its equivalent wherein the fraction has a denominator of 24. So it is equal to 3 over 24. So how are we going to get this? So we divide the LCD, which is 24, by 8. So 24 divided by 8 is 3. Then multiply it to the numerator, 1. So 3 times 1 is 3. So we have 3 over 24. Now, for 5 over 6, so again, we get the equivalent wherein the denominator is 24. So 24 divided by 6 is 4. And 4 times 5 is 20. So we can now add these two numbers because they are already similar fractions. So it is equal to 3 over 24 plus 20 over 24. So again, add the numerator. 3 plus 20, it is equal to 23. Then copy the LCD, which is 24. So we have 23 over 24. And it is already in its lowest term. So 23 over 24 is the answer for our example number 2. Now for number 3, we have here 6 over 8 plus 6 over 24. So we get the LCD. So we list down the multiples of 8. So we have 8, 16, 24. Then stop to 24 because we have the denominator, the second one, which is also 24. So the LCD is 24. Now we may use the prime factorization. So we have 8. It is equal to 2 times 2 times 2. Then we have 24, which is equal to 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. So we just bring down all of these numbers. 2 times 2 times 2 times 3, which is equal to 24. So the LCD is 24. Then again, we get the equivalent of 6 over 8, which is equal to 18 over 24, wherein the LCD is 24. So 24 divided by 8 is 3, and 3 times 6 is 18. So we have 6 over 24. So the same, we will use 6 over 24. Then we have similar fractions. So we can now add this fraction. So it is equal to 18 over 24 plus 6 over 24. Now add the numerator, 18 plus 6. So we have 24. Then copy the LCD over 24. So 24 over 24, to simplify it, it is equal to 1. So the answer for number 3 is 1. Now for number 4, we have 6 over 7 minus 12 over 21. So again, we get the LCD. We can use the multiples. So get the multiples of 7. We have 7, 14, 21. So we stop with 21 because we already have 21, our second denominator. So we have here 21. So the LCD is 21. So we can use the prime factorization. So we just write 7 because 7 is already a prime number. Then for 21, we have these prime factors, which are 7 times 3. Then we just bring down all the numbers. We have 7 times 3. So 7 times 3 is equal to 21. So 21 is our LCD. So we get 6 over 7 to its equivalent, wherein the denominator is 21. So 21 divided by 7 is 3, and 3 times 6 is 18. And then for 12 over 21, so we will use the same because we already have 21 as denominator. So we can now subtract. So 18 over 21 minus 12 over 21. So again, the rule, numerator minus the numerator, then over the LCD. So 18 minus 12 is equal to 6 over the LCD, which is 21. So we have 6 over 21. So we get the lowest term of 6 over 21. So we may use the GCF. So 6, we have equal to 3 times 2. And then for 21, we have equal to 3 times 7. So we just get the common factor, which is 3. So the GCF is 3. Then we will divide the numerator and the denominator by 3. So 6 divided by 3 over 21 divided by 3. So it is equal to 2 over 7. So the lowest term is 2 over 7. Now let us have example number 5. So we have 2/3 minus 3/4. So we get the LCD. We have the multiples of 3. So we have 3, 6, 9, 12. And then we have the multiples of 4, 4, 8, 12. So we stop with 12 because there is these multiples which are the same to both 3 and 4. So we have 12 as the LCD. Then we can use the prime factors. So for 3, we have 3. So we just write 3 because it's already prime. And then we have 4, which is equal to 2 times 2. So remember that we have to align the factors, same factors. So we just bring down 3 times 2 times 2. And 3 times 2 is 6, times 2 is 12. So the LCD is 12. Now rewrite 2/3 to its equivalent fraction wherein the denominator is 12. So we have 8 over 12. So how to get this? So 12 divided by 3 is 4 times 2. It is equal to 8. Now for 3/4, so it is equal to 9 over 12. So 12 divided by 4 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. So we can now subtract these two because they are already similar fractions. So 8 over 12 minus 9 over 12. So remember the rule for signed numbers. So 8 minus 9. So how are we going to get the difference of this? So it will become 8 plus negative 9. So the rule for addition. So we have 8 plus negative 9, which is equal to negative 1. And then just copy the LCD, which is 12. So simplifying, we will have negative 1 over 12. So this will be the answer for number 5. Now let us have number 6 example. So we have here 2 over 5 times 6 over 7. So remember the rule for multiplication, numerator times numerator over denominator times denominator. So it is equal to 2 times 6, which is 12, and 5 times 7, which is 35. So the product is 12 over 35. Example number 7. So we have 2 over 10 times 5 over 8. So we can use the cancellation method in this particular example. But remember that for this method, we only canceled numbers 1 in the numerator and 1 in the denominator. So we can cancel 2 and 8 because they are both divisible by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1 and 8 divided by 2 is 4. And we can also cancel 5 and 10 because they are both divisible by 5. So 5 divided by 5 is 1 and 10 divided by 5 is 2. So it is equal to 1 times 1, which is 1, and 2 times 4, which is 8. So the product is 1 over 8. Now let us have example number 8. So we have 7 over 8 times negative 7 over 5. So remember for the rule in multiplication of signed numbers, so different signs, the product is negative. So it is equal to negative 49 over 40. So 7 times 7, 49, and 8 times 5, 40. Different signs, negative. So the product is negative 49 over 40. Example number 9. So we have 5 over 6 divided by 3 over 7. So the rule for division, we copy the dividend, which is 5 over 6, then change division symbol to multiplication and get the reciprocal of the divisor. So we have here 3 over 7, so it will become 7 over 3. Then follow the rule for multiplication. So it is now 5 times 7, which is equal to 35, and 6 times 3, which is equal to 18. So the product is, or the quotient of 5 over 6 divided by 3 over 7 is equal to 35 over 18. Now for example number 10, we have 7 over 8 divided by negative 3 over 4. So it is equal to 7 over 8. So we copy 7 over 8. Then change division symbol to multiplication and get the reciprocal of negative 3/4. So it will become negative 4/3. So again, remember, for multiplication, the product, if it is different signs, so the product is negative. And we can cancel 4 and 8 because they are both divisible by 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 8 divided by 2, or rather 8 divided by 4 is 2. So multiply, 7 times 1 is 7, and 2 times 3 is 6. So different signs, the product is negative. So 7 over 8 divided by negative 3/4 is equal to negative 7 over 6. Okay, let's have number 11 example. We have 2 and 4/5 times 3 and 2/3. So before we multiply this, we have to change mixed number into improper fraction. So how are we going to change it? The denominator multiplied by the whole number, then add the numerator over the denominator. So we have here 5 times 2 is 10 plus 4, 14 over 5. So we have 14 over 5 times 3 times 3 is 9 plus 2 is 11. Then copy the denominator 3. So we have 11 over 3. So we have 14 over 5 times 11 over 3. So it will be equal to numerator times numerator over denominator times denominator. We cannot use the cancellation method because there's no such number that we can divide to both number. Okay, so 14 times 11 is 154 over 5 times 3 is 15. So the answer is 154 over 15. Now let us have this learning task 3. So answer the following word problems. Let us have the first one. So it took Cardo 1/2 of an hour to complete his math homework on Wednesday, 2/3 of an hour on Thursday, and 3/5 of an hour on Friday. So how many hours did it take Cardo to complete his homework all together? So we have to translate this, and the operation involved is addition. So we have 1/2 plus 2/3 plus 3/5. So before we have to add it, we have to get the equivalent fractions wherein we get the LCD. So LCD, we have 2. So we just write 2 because it's already prime number. We have 3, so it is equal to 3. And then 5, so it is equal to 5. So remember that we have to align the factors. So they are different. So we have to bring down all of the numbers. So we have 2 times 3 times 5. And 2 times 3 is 6 times 5 is 30. So the LCD is 30. So we get the equivalent fractions. So first one, 30 divided by 2 is 15. Then 15 times 1 is 15. So we have 15 over 30. And then for the second fraction, we have 30 divided by 3, which is 10. 10 times 2 is 20. So we have 20 over 30. Then for the last one, for 3/5, we have 30 divided by 5, which is 6. And 6 times 3, it is 18. So we have 18 over 30. So we can now add these 3 because they are all similar fractions. So we can add all these 3 numerators. So 15 plus 20 plus 18. So 15 plus 20 is 35, and 35 plus 18 is 53. Then we just copy the LCD. So 53 over 30. So remember that the problem is asking for the number of hours. So if it is number of hours, you have to change it in mixed number. In changing it to mixed number, we just simply divide numerator by the denominator. So 53 divided by 30 is 1. And there is a remainder which is 23. So 23 will be written in the numerator, then over the denominator which is 30. So the answer is 1 and 23 over 30 hours. Number 2. Aliana has 4 and 14 centimeter of wire. She needs only 3 and 3/7 centimeter of wire for her project in TLE. So how much wire was left? So for this, the operation involved is subtraction. So we have to change this to fractions. So we have 4 and 5 over 14 minus 3 and 3 over 7. So get the LCD. We have 14 and 7. So 14 is equal to 7 times 2. Then we have 7, so it's already prime, so we just write 7. So take note, we just align those similar factors. So bring down 7 times 2. So 7 times 2 is equal to 14. So 14 will be the LCD. So we rewrite it having the same denominator. So copy 4, and then 14 divided by 14 is 1, then times 5, so we have 5. So 4 and 5 over 14. Minus, so 14 divided by 7 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. So we just copy 3. So we will have 3 and 6 over 14. Now, we cannot subtract the numerator and the denominator. So we have to rename this mixed number. So we rename it as 3 and 19 over 14. So how are we going to do it? So we will borrow 1 from 4, so it will become 3. And this 1 is the same with 14 over 14. And 14 over 14, add it to 5 over 14, so it will be 14 plus 5, 19. Then the denominator is 14. So we now have 3 and 19 over 14 minus 3 and 6 over 14. So we have 19 minus 6, which is equal to 13, then copy the LCD, which is 14. And 3 minus 3 is already 0. So the answer is 13 over 14 centimeters. Now for the last problem, we have here, at Reyes family reunion, 3½ kilogram of spaghetti was left. If there are 4 families, how much each family can take home equally? So the operation involved in this problem is division. So we will have 3½ divided by 4. So remember that our rule for division, we copy the dividend, so 3½ change division to multiplication and get the reciprocal of 4. So 4 is the same with 4 over 1. So the reciprocal of it is 1/4. Then change 3½ to improper fraction. So we have 7 over 2. So 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1, 7. Then copy the denominator 2. So now multiply numerator by numerator over denominator by denominator, which is equal to 7 times 1, which is 7, and 2 times 4, which is 8. So the answer is 7 over 8 kilograms. So that's all for today. I hope you learned from this video. Thank you for watching. Stay safe and God bless.